Hello, how are you today?
Hello, hello, hello. I am really good, thank you. And how are you doing
I'm
today?
really good too, thank you. I'm quite surprised with the subject that you want to bring today.
I felt very much inspired for this subject
Okay.
because this is something that happens to people who doesn't know anything about spirituality. This what's happened to people who are totally blue about their own spiritual path and their own spiritual part. So when it happens, they go bazingas, they go crazy, they think, okay, something's wrong with me, and so on and so on. And what is happening that when I start speaking with them and I start entering on this kind of topics, they said, oh yeah, I had this kind of experience. Oh yeah, yeah. And they start to open up. And then every person that I spoke with, they had some kind of spiritual experience.
Mhm.
So it is not like people are going crazy or people are seeing ghosts or so on. Yeah, there are some cases that they have chemical imbalances, brain and so on. But in most cases, this is people just have a spiritual experience. So hello, 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 and welcome in Power Pass, your ticket to greatness. And today we will be speaking about your spiritual powers. And have you awakened them already? Or are they brewing in you and they are coming to the surface? This is our topic for today. And so I wanted to start with you, Hakia. What do you understand by spiritual powers? And what kind of spiritual powers have you discovered in yourself, and when and how it started?
Mhm. Okay, so I think the spiritual powers can be really a massive field, a huge field, because all of us we are different, and all of us we can have different experiences. You have people that, for example, they have visions since they are a child. You have people that actually they start to have visions later on. You have people that actually also they can hear. Um, you have people with the gift that, for example, when they touch something, they can heal. So the field of spirituality is really something that we are still discovering. We cannot define it yet, because I think if we try to define it, we are not taking a good pathway, because I think in this way can lead people to just believe that spiritual powers are something very defined, and
Hmm.
the spirituality is something that is so subtle that it's even about you to learn how to deal with your system. Because
Yes.
what I see when people start to have some kind of experience that is more spiritual, it's about uh, um, the perception that opens. So there are channels of perception that open, and to clarify better this idea, we can just give a practical example. For example, let's go imagine you are a person into some subject and you learn how they teach you. So that line of thinking, you explore it and you get an expert in that area. I don't know why, but there is one day that maybe something comes to you, another kind of subject, that then actually even you can find that there is something that connect with the things that you were studying before, and suddenly you have another perception about this subject. So it opens the channels of your perception, and it's the same with the spirituality. Every time that you start to get awakened, it's your awareness that expands. So it's like you start to understand better what are the synchronicities that usually we call the coincidences, isn't it?
Yes. Yes,
Uh, that it,
exactly.
that it's something that, for example, in the morning you wake up, you open your phone, and there it was written some kind of message from a friend, or even in your Facebook, there is a post, and hours later, someone else comes with the same message. So this is exactly something that if you have this perception open, you start to understand, okay, there is something here. And then it's about exactly how conscious you are already about the things that come without explanation.
Mm.
Okay? Also, about the experience when you are a child and you can see things, for instance, because it's quite common, and many times the parents get scared about it. The most part of the children, they really can see something, and it stops about when they turn 7 years old. That is connected with the 7 subtle bodies that we spoke already.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it closed the perception of the child. So even, for example, nowadays, if you speak to an adult, he can remember about something weird that happened before, and
Yeah.
he didn't understand by that time, or at least didn't have an adult to explain to him what was going on. And this is the thing, because until 7 years old, your perception is still very fresh. So it's absorbing the world, it's creating the way how you will see the world. And this is the reason, because sometimes people get so confused between a spiritual awakening and even a mental health issue.
Yes. The perception is expanding. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to clarify a bit, as we are speaking about spirituality and spiritual powers. The spiritual powers are not only seeing the ghosts and speaking with ghosts,
Mm-hmm.
or conjuring angels or demons, or so on, or touching something, having visions of the future, of the past. Spiritual powers are also intuition. They are
Mm-hmm.
insights. They are levels of consciousness in which we can receive information and in which we can expand our consciousness and see a bit more and understand a bit more,
Mm-hmm.
that normally we wouldn't be able to connect or see or understand. And so that is what is happening, as you said, when we are going through the process of awakening. What is happening is that our consciousness, that our awareness is expanding, and we are starting to notice, oh, I was thinking about red car, and now I'm seeing red cars everywhere. Oh, I just read an article about ancient swords, and now a friend of mine sent me a photo of an ancient sword that they found it somewhere there. So this kind of coincidences, we start noticing them more and more and more and more, and then we start clicking into place. Everything starts becoming connected. Yet this topic is especially about it because a lot of people, when they start observing it, when they start seeing this kind of flashes of intuition, this kind of informations that are entering their system, and they don't know what it is, they feel that there's something wrong with them, that they are going crazy, and they're very often, they are not speaking about it. They are not sharing it with other people. A lot of people are passing through out-of-body experiences. A lot of people are passing through lucid dreaming. They are meeting their relatives in the dreams. They are meeting ghosts and spirits. And I remember, like you said, since I was a young child, I remember I could see energies. I could interact with them. And when I was asking my grandma, she was saying, oh, that's an energy. She wasn't afraid. She said, that's an energy. I cannot see it. You can see it. And that's it. And after a while, I stopped. It stopped. But then it came back again when I had like 15, 16, 17. It started to slowly be reawakened, and it came back to me. And nowadays I can sleep and wake up in being this half awake state, and I can see a person standing over my bed. And it's like, what do you want? It's like, I need help. I want to go on the other side. And so this is normal. There are some kind of energy, some kind of spirit, some kind of stuff that is coming to us. And it's nothing to be afraid of. It is nothing to put aside or sweep out under the carpet, because it is happening. And however we cannot touch it, we cannot see it, it is still happening in the energetical plane. And so what about you? What kind of spiritual powers can you recognize in yourself?
Usually I don't talk about that. because I think these kind of things, at least for me, usually they don't like to be exposed.
Hmm.
It's like, because look one thing, if if you have a kind of gift, this can play in your favor or against you,
Hmm.
because it's also about how you start to see yourself. Usually for me, the things are like experienced in different levels without my control. So the things come to me, and it's like I didn't plan them
Hmm.
beforehand, or even it's like, it's not a pattern,
Hmm.
let's say. Because imagine one thing. Um, I remember many years ago, I was teenager by that time, and I live in the countryside at that time. And I remember that it was maybe 11 p.m. I was already in bed, and I start to hear birds. I was like, it's so weird because birds during the night, it's not so
Hmm.
common. Even that I was, of course, living in the countryside, but it was something not common. And then I just jumped from my bed and I asked to the rest of my family, can you hear the birds? And they were, no, we can't hear the birds. And for me, it was something like, okay, maybe I'm getting crazy. What is this about?
Hmm.
And it was interesting because just after a few years, I started to understand when these birds were coming.
Hmm.
Okay, and this it's something that usually I say that give some time for you to understand how you get the information,
Hmm.
how the things happen to you, because as you mentioned before, the the dreams that happen and evolve relatives of you that passed away.
Yes.
This is something that it's always happens when you do the unfolding of your body. When what I'm saying with unfolding your body, it's about astral projection. So it's
Hmm.
like when you fall asleep, okay, there is your astral body that goes away. And of course, some people they can have an intention and say, okay, I would like to go there if I'm allowed to go there, or if it's convenient for my experience, and I can go there. But the most part of the people, they are not aware that they can go somewhere. So
Hmm.
they just go according to their astral body needs.
Yes.
Even sometimes they don't understand these needs. And also, it's not about just their own astral body. It can be the astral body of the relative that is still in a plan that it's possible, the ones that are here to reach. And this experience about to dream with people that passed away, the most part of the times they have a kind of message. It can be, and this is something that it's very important that people really start to understand that you have many options. This is the reason because I say that about spiritual powers, we are still giving steps, the first steps, because we know that spirituality is real, but we still don't know enough because we need to prove it.
Hmm.
In some way, the science needs to tell us, yes, you are right. Otherwise, we still get very confused. And for instance, when this happens, it can be a message. It can be even sometimes people, they get confused about the message because I remember a situation that the person was a bit scared because the relative was warning her.
Hmm.
Okay. And in the reality, it was more connected with her astral body, with her emotional
Mm-hmm.
field that
Yes.
was reflecting a fear. So
Yeah.
it was like a contact, but it was like a mirror of the
Yes.
situation. Okay.
A manifestation of emotion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this can happen, and still it's a power, because, for example, if the person gets this kind of communication, starts to understand, okay, so I have to look exactly what my emotional body wants here, what
Mm.
are my emotional needs, what I am facing here that connects with this message of fear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or in some cases, yes, it's a real message. So people, they have to open themselves to be open to this experience, that it's like,
Yes.
okay, if it repeats and repeats and repeats, this means this for me. And
Yeah.
one kind of experience that can happen to me, and for me it's a pattern,
Mm.
the same experience for you can have another meaning.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And this is the reason, because at least I believe that in this matter of the spiritual powers, we have to humble to understand that all of us, we have them. And this is the reason, because everyone has some kind of experience. Even, for example, if you meet with friends, if this subject is raised, you will see that the most part of them, I would say 7 in 10 or 8 in 10, they will share some kind of weird experience that
Yes.
they couldn't explain.
Yes. It's. I wanted to tell a short story about exactly hearing stuff. I was receiving while meditating. I was receiving messages about not clairvoyance, not
Mm-hmm.
seeing the future, but hearing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember exactly how it was called, but this particular word was coming to me during meditation. And I hear this word and I hear this word. I googled this word and it means hearing the truth, hearing
Mm-hmm.
the like hearing the future, hearing the truth. What was funny? The next day I was watching something on YouTube and there was an ad, and in the ad they were saying stuff and I was hearing something totally different. I
Mm-hmm.
was like hearing what they wanted to tell, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that's odd. And I asked my brother that he hear what I heard, and he said no, they said this, and I heard this one like totally different. And maybe a couple of days later, for fun, I was just walking and saying, oh, I'm synchronizing with angelic energy, I'm synchronizing with angelic radio, I'm synchronizing with angelic radio. And the same evening I was laying in my bed, I was scrolling through Instagram, and I hear music. And it was beautiful, like chorus and like classical music, really beautiful. And it wasn't coming from my phone. I stopped my phone and I listen. Flatmate is in another room. Maybe he's listening some kind of music,
Mm-hmm.
but no, because I would hear it differently. It was coming like from above me, from my head.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what is going on? What is going on? And then I just simply reminded myself these intentions, like I'm synchronizing with angelic radio. And it is like through the intention, my consciousness, my awareness was
Mm-hmm.
expanded to a point in which I started to receive a certain frequencies, a certain wavelengths, and my brain was translating them into this kind of music, into this kind of frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And I was like, wow, that's fun. And I discovered a new thing that I can play with. And obviously, if you will do it for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
your mind and your consciousness will start translating this
Mm-hmm.
kind of frequency in different and very unique way for you. So yes, we can have very similar experiences, yet it's also possible that the same experience might be received totally
Mm-hmm.
differently by your system, by the way that you are
Mm-hmm.
built and your experiences.
Yes, because even, for example, some people usually can be more auditive,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like they can hear something, and it's real,
Mm-hmm.
because One thing that it's quite important, I believe, to mention here, of course, if you are going through the mental health, you have stories of people that they heard a voice saying, kill this person.
Yeah, kill
Or
yourself, kill this person. Yeah, negative,
exactly,
very, very negative.
exactly.
Yeah.
There are things that you can understand that you are not crazy when the message is quite real.
Hmm.
What I mean with this, it's like even you can understand as the voice of your intuition.
Yes.
Okay, imagine, for example, that you are just doing your things. You can be cooking, for instance, and suddenly it's like there is a voice that says
Mm.
to you, you know what, you are going to ring now to this person, go and phone this person.
Hmm.
Okay, this is something, and then you are going to phone this person, and for example, you can hear the other saying to you that actually is not feeling well.
Yes.
Okay, so again, it's your perception open that is
Yes.
getting the information. Other times, what can happen? It can be a vision. You are cooking again, and suddenly a person crosses your mind from nothing. Even, for
Hmm.
example, you are not talking to this person for 4 or 5 years,
Yes.
and even you are like, but why? And then, if you are going to phone this person, you can understand what was the reason why
Yes.
she crossed your mind. So these are simple examples that you can start to understand that you are attuned, okay, to a more spiritual level. So
Hmm.
it's like your spiritual powers are getting more
Conscious.
conscious for yourself. Because
Yeah.
if you really don't ignore these kind of things that happen to you, you will really start to understand that it's like a power.
Yeah. It's. I also wanted to share something how to differentiate the informations that are coming from the source, that are coming from the intuition, from your higher self, from the angelic energies and frequencies, and the thoughts that are coming from the ego, from the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
See how are you feeling when you are receiving the thought.
Mm-hmm.
If you are connected with yourself and you're walking down the street and you hear thought you will die and you feel stomach cramps and you feel the anxiety attack, this is coming from your ego. Your ego is trying to protect you. Something was triggered in the subconscious mind, and the ego is creating this kind of thoughts. When you have a similar situation and the information would come from the higher self or from your heart, it would say, I don't want to go there now.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer to stay here and do this one. Oh, I got distracted and I had to phone my friend. Um, no, I don't feel to go there right now. The information comes very softly,
Mm-hmm.
very easily, and makes you feel good, makes you feel natural, makes you feel in a way that it's natural for you, that you feel good about it. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not triggering any kind of negative emotions. If it's triggering emotions, it's triggering love, gratefulness, compassion, happiness, bliss. Every positive emotion that is triggered, that's the sensation and the informations that these messages are coming from the source, from yourself, from your heart. If there's something else, understand that it's not coming from the source, it's coming from the ego, from the triggers, from the fear, and it is illusion. Because fear is false evidence appearing real, something that the ego created in order to protect us. And very often it's not true. It is just to prevent an imaginary scenario of the future.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that you are talking about fear, because the fear also helps us to create a lot of of rational ideas,
Hmm.
of judgments, and you need a lot of logic to understand many things. And many times when you take the pathway of the logic, you close your channels of perception. Because as I
Yes.
said to you before, if you are focused in a subject that you learn just in some way, you are just concentrated in this system.
Hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
And if you are becoming too logical, it's not even good for you, because it's a way that even the fears will knock on your door more often.
Yes. Because you're here. You're in the mind and
Mm-hmm.
you're not in the heart. And this is how we receive informations. We receive informations through our heart, that it's the heart chakra, the energetical source, that sees everything as it is in the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then these informations, if the channels are open, they are being transmitted from the heart to the mind, and then
Mm-hmm.
mind can interpret the signals and set flash of a friend, a song, a thought, an inspiration, something. But when we go to strictly a logical path, we stay in our heart, in our head, and the heart is cut off. We cannot receive the informations because we are still crunching numbers in the head.
Mm-hmm. Because now you reminded me some situations that happen often, that it's like people, they stop to sleep.
Hmm.
It's like they don't know where they are going, because it's like they sleep and they don't sleep, and they feel very confused about this kind of experience. And many times what is happening is exactly something triggered you to start to expand your
Hmm.
consciousness. And because we are now discussing this subject, I think I'm going to raise a flag that some people will hate, some people will love. That is about sometimes people that they want to expand their consciousness, and they take some kind of drugs. Can be
Hmm.
natural, can be artificial, it doesn't matter. The
Hmm.
purpose of taking them is exactly, okay, I want to go somewhere, I want to know more, something like that. And this is something that I always say, this is quite tricky, because if you are not expanding your heart, okay, the wisdom of your heart, this can lead you to a big issue. Because and this happens very often, that it's like you have some people that they consume this kind of drugs, and then the situation becomes really, really complicated. And happens for this reason, because it's like your consciousness is still not ready to
Mm.
see where you were taken.
Yes.
So even when you decide to have this kind of experiences, at least go informed. And this is the reason because I'm saying this. Go conscious that, okay, I'm going to step in a field and I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Yes. That is
Because,
illogical. Yeah.
and it's not just illogical, it's like, um, because let's see one thing. If you take a drug, if you change your consciousness, so you expand, you go to a level that you see stuff that you never saw before,
Yeah.
okay? And different people, they see different things. Some people, they can see geometric figures, geometric shapes. Other people, they can see fairies. So the visions are a huge field again. And if they don't understand where they went, these can be tricky when they come back to the reality.
Hmm. Yes. It is beyond the experience when
Mm-hmm.
you don't know how to connect with your heart, when you don't know how
Mm-hmm.
to navigate yourself with your heart, the informations, visions, and the experience can be difficult to integrate,
Yes.
because to integrate you need to understand, and often when you use very potent medicine or very potent drug, and it will take you to a place in which your level of understanding, level of consciousness is not expanded enough to understand or even
Mm-hmm.
comprehend what was it all about.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, very often, it is simply a reflection of what is inside of us, and it depends on us if we choose to release all the traumas and fears and stuff that was sitting in us, or we choose to still hold to it. And then when we come back, if we didn't release it, there is a work to be done to integrate and release stuff
Mm-hmm.
that we've seen, that we went through. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, this I believe that it's a very important message, because I think sometimes the ego can lead us like, no, I want to see more, I want to know
Mhm.
more. And usually my advice is go step by step. Because
Mhm.
remember, everything that you try to force, it's playing against you. Life
Yeah.
is, even you have the concept of going in the flow, and it's about this, going in the flow, because in this way you are going on your own rhythm, so you
Hmm.
can really get the things in your time, with your level of perception by that time. Because look, one thing, my perception right now, it's not the same than when I was 20 years old.
Yes. Yes.
So life takes you even to understand step by step. And if you force to manifest, to go after these spiritual powers,
Hmm.
you can be uh, trapped by them. Because then it's like you don't know exactly how they can fit in you,
Yes.
what they are, how you can understand them when they come to you.
It's like you're walking on a field and you discover the tank. You know that
Yes,
there it is there, but you don't know what to do with it.
exactly, exactly.
Yes.
And many times when, for instance, you have people that they consume the drugs, they have some kind of experience with some kind of plan, and
Mm.
then the things, let's say, go wrong,
Mm.
it's because was not fully prepared.
Yes.
And again, it's because the mind was in a level demanding something. So
The ego. Yeah.
for your spiritual powers to be awakened, feel them, pay attention in what happens in your surroundings, pay
Mm.
attention in how what comes to you, pay attention, for example, even in your dreams, what your dreams are telling you. And this starts to be really a lot of information that you can integrate and start to understand what is your system and how your system is working with the information. Because look, if for example you want to learn something that you have in the world, you are not able to,
Yeah.
even because you don't live so long,
Mm.
so you don't have time exactly to get all this information. So just enjoy the ride, feel what comes to you, start to observe more, because these powers are inside of you. Maybe they are still a bit sleeping in some people, in others they are awakening, disturbing them.
Mm.
But go with the flow, go slowly, and respect your system and
Yes.
trust.
Exactly. And I also wanted to share a trick about the plant medicine and different medicines and chemicals that people use in order to expand the consciousness. So the easiest way to understand what is the best aligned with us is to ask the spirit of medicine, to ask the intuition, to ask the plant medicine, and you will feel a calling. You will feel a calling for ayahuasca, you will feel a calling for magic mushrooms, you will feel a calling for cactus, for peyote, for San Pedro, and so some different medicine that are beautiful and powerful, but it's not like the ego, oh, I will go there, I will take it, and I'll see what happens, because it goes from the ego. And the plant medicine is loving, but it will spank you. It will tell you you are
Mhm.
not ready, and you can suffer. So if you connect with yourself and you feel, okay, Mother Ayahuasca is calling me, she wants to show me something, then you
Mhm.
go and do it. And when you do it exactly from the intuition, from the heart, you are protected, you are guided,
Mhm.
and everything is the right place because you know that you are ready.
Mhm.
And that's it. I believe that our time is getting to an end for today.
Yeah.
So a beautiful sum up would be to say that you have already your spiritual powers in you, and they are there. They might be dormant, or there might be reawakening and awakening again, and they may
Mhm.
stir a pot of your emotions, a pot of your consciousness, in order to expand your consciousness, and see and show you how amazing you are. And we are physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual beings. So don't deny your spirituality. Don't deny your emotion, your intuition, your parts that you cannot see, that are not tangible here on this physical planet. And see what happens. Enjoy it. Play with it.
Thank you very much, and see you next Monday.
Blessings. See you.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.